did. Just put it on the iPad.
If I can
not on-
find the paper,
Oh.
I know. Here it is.
Mine's in my phone, too.
Hmm?
Mine's in my phone
I
always.
should have it on there.
I'm calling to order the workshop for Bullhead City School Board on Thursday, August 21st, 2025 at, 5:40
Uh-huh.
PM. Present Melinda Sabrowski.
Charlene Diaz here.
Barb Zarzicki here.
Judy Reed here.
It looks like the workshop is comprised mostly of ASBA policies. And these are changes.
Madam President and board members, these are recommended changes from ASBA relative to legislative action. So we have items 1.3 through 1.7, and so we can look at what the changes are. The new things are underlined, and any things that they're recommending dropping are crossed off. So
This is EB Safety Program.
yes, environmental and safety program.
Okay.
And
That's just one of the changes, isn't it?
yes, and you can see actually they've added several paragraphs because they're really committed to us having safe environments in our schools, and
It's with school resource.
so and back it up with some money, some grant funds.
They really are backing it up with money, huh?
Well, a little bit. Oh yeah. Oh, it wants to update right now. Wonderful. She got an update signal, right?
Yeah. yeah.
Okay.
Any questions on this one?
No.
You guys all had a chance to kind of read it. We're just having for information tonight. So we're not doing any action. 1.4 ASBA Policy Advisory for GCQF, Discipline, Suspension, and Dismissal of Professional Staff Members. Anything different
Get
than
that
this
one up. I can't remember exactly what got changed on this.
Don't see anything.
It's down a ways, I think. Down a long ways. This is a very long policy, but this is one.
there it
Actually,
is.
there you go.
Yeah.
So it gives the board, it gives you as a board some additional things that you can do if you are considering dismissal of a certificated employee.
Okay.
And this is a policy that we use. Unfortunately, we use some because it has to do with, discipline of professional staff.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Item 1.5 ASBA Policy Advisory for JLC, Student Health Services and Requirements.
Okay. This one is making sure that parents can get information about our health attendants. As you know, or maybe have forgotten because I tend to forget it and then remind myself, we have one RN in the district, and then the rest of our folks are various certificates for health attendants, and so this is just simply giving parents right to information about the training for the folks that we have in our health offices. Now, you're going to need to make it more than 2 hours probably. So
Rather
I'm sorry.
insistent, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very persistent for her.
Okay, item 1.6 ASBA Policy Advisory for JLCD Medicines, Administrating Medicines to Students.
Okay. And this has updated some things that have to do with EpiPens,
Okay,
injectable
that's what I
things,
remember.
handheld, or particularly the EpiPens. And then, yeah, it's very much about those delivery systems.
Yeah, because they have the new delivery system that's nasal now, that you don't even need the pens for the epi.
Would be a nice change for,
Yeah.
especially in those circumstances where, rare circumstances where a student actually carries the pen. We don't have very many instances where that happens, but of course you all can understand why we might be nervous about that.
Yeah.
And so this is a good change.
Item 1.7, ASBA Policy Advisory for JOF, reporting child abuse and child protection.
This one extends the requirement for reporting to all employees and
Yeah.
to substitute teachers and those kinds of things. And then a couple of other things about caseworkers. It was interesting to me when they worked on this law because we have said to all of our employees forever that they're required to report. And so, you know, we were doing it already for our paras and our bus drivers and custodians and anybody. So this just put teeth in that part.
We have a policy that explains how to report, right? Or some-
Well, we
someone-
train our folks on how to report. It's one of the training things that they do every year.
Okay. Item 1.8, Internet Security and Student Privacy.
So this is I brought this up because there was Cass, would you put the surveillance of computers, this news article? Yeah. So there was a news article a week or so ago. Lance is always really good about we get daily news briefs from him, and particularly anything that has to do with schools. There was a court case that was adjudicated recently for an incident in Tucson. Where a student had written threatening things in email, not in his personal email, in his school email, did not hit send, but because of some of the security programs, the administrators got alerted. And so it went to court. It ended up being that I think that his family won the case, that the disciplinary action was too harsh or whatever. But it's led to other districts and folks asking about it. Cass, if you'd go back to the very beginning of this article, I just wanted us to be in front of it so that because we have our kids on their devices. And we do have policies and whatever, but I wanted to be in front of it so that if somebody were to ask you as board members, or if they challenge us, which sometimes happens, why do we do this? Why do we monitor what's going on our computers? And so I've highlighted these things because we have an obligation to block certain access to certain websites. And since almost all of our students are under the age of 13, we're required by federal law to take actions to protect them because legally, without parent permission, they are not supposed to be on social media or have their own email accounts or those kinds of things. So we want to make sure that we're protecting our kids. And so these points are really, what we can't afford to have anybody sitting and monitoring what our kids are doing on the digital devices. That would take a full-time person. So we employ a couple of programs to help us catch things if they're talking about self-harm or threat to somebody else. Plus, following that, complying with that federal law about protecting kids from lewd things. So in this article, we are mentioned because we are one of 52 school districts in the state. So you can scroll back down, Cass, to show those. These are the school districts in the state, and I've highlighted the ones that are us and our surrounding schools, our neighboring schools, who have this kind of software. Okay, I just wanted you all to be aware of these things, and So four of the 52.
There's only four districts?
Well,
No.
three in Mojave County.
I know.
And then Parker, but yeah. Yep, well, because there's some expense, and I'm going to share that with you here in a minute. So this article talks then also here about, the cost and use of funds, and I'm going to share that information with you here in a minute. So I also asked James to share with us, and Cass has some things to show, of what it looks like if we get an alert that says a student has typed in or has tried to get to a website that they shouldn't. So, okay, so he's blocked out any information, so you can't identify the student. But here you can see an alert came up and it said this student was looking at drug or alcohol-related content. The one below it, violence, bullying, and profanity. The one below that, the same. And it tells you, a student and the site. And what he's blocked out is the identification of the student. But then what we do is we look at it, whoever gets the alert, so say the principal gets the alert, and goes and looks at the context in which the student was using it. So for instance, if the student was doing a health report on the dangers of using drugs and alcohol, it would make sense that the student's going to be looking at a site that has that kind of information. So the system just alerts to keywords. It doesn't make a judgment about is this bad or good, or has the student done something they shouldn't have done. It just keys on those words and it calls it up for us. And then we also get, this is the dashboard for, my goodness, James, is this the dashboard for GoGuardian? Okay, this is the dashboard for GoGuardian, and so you can see it tells us how much time students have spent on Google.com, and it says appropriate things, and how much usage. You can see the little chart down at the bottom, so you can see it spikes at certain times when students are using it. And then you can see on the right hand when there have been alerts, and those kinds of things. So we only look at these if the principal asks James to look it up. Nobody sits and looks at this. Nobody even looks at it every day. It's only if we think we have an issue. And part of the concern that people have, that parents have, is that we're invading their children's privacy or First Amendment rights. We're not interested in that. We're just interested in protecting our kids. Okay, Cass, if you would pull up now here's another one. So here you can say, here you can see that it tells why something was blocked. So almost all of those have to do with blocked by policy, but you can say the one that's blocked, the two that are blocked by the teacher. Because one of the features of GoGuardian is the teacher can control what websites students can go to if they're doing research or they're doing an activity, and the teacher can also see on their screen every student or call up each student's screen and see what they are actually looking at. And so the teacher can go, no, you shouldn't be there, and can turn it off or do whatever the teacher needs to do. So that's one of the benefits of GoGuardian, is that it lets us not just monitor, but take care of business right away without having to contact technology or something like that. And one more. Okay, and I'm guessing this is one student and the information about this one student's use of whatever, whichever site or what they were doing. So we just wanted you to see some examples of how it notifies us, what information it gives us before, a decision is made about whether it was appropriate or inappropriate. Okay. And then I attached this memo to you all in the administrative, not because I didn't want parents and families to see it, I just didn't want them to see it before you all had a chance to talk about it. But this has to do with our district specifically. So as I said, we have no employee who actively monitors this nonstop, because we don't have those kinds of We don't have anybody who can do that. It's a time-consuming thing. They protect our kids, particularly those under the age of 13. And one of the concerns that was stated in that article, and by the parents of that student, the parents who had filed suit, was that they did not know that the student's access was going to be monitored. Well, we have an acceptable use policy. Parents sign it on behalf of their kids, and their students sign it, and our employees sign for themselves the acceptable use. And it very clearly says that it will be monitored. Okay, so there's no, people can say, well, I didn't know my child was going to be monitored. But if they've signed the document, they were at least informed, whether they read it or not. But I wanted you to know what programs we use. We use BARC. It's a free program for schools. Families can use it, but they have to pay. But for us, it's free. It's the one that scans district email accounts and digital documents for signs of serious issues like threats of violence or self-harm. And it's the one that cyberbullying, and it picks up on keywords. And I will tell you that we've had instances in the past where we have been alerted to possible upcoming situations in our schools that we don't want to happen, and get in front of it. So we can help a student who is maybe considering self-harm of some kind. We've used it that way in the past, but we've also headed off some assaults and some inappropriate activity, okay? The administrator's notified. And then Go Guardian, we do pay for. We pay $5.51 per student per year to monitor students' behavior. And then we also pay $5.51 a year for the teacher to do the things that I was telling you. It allows the teacher to go in and select appropriate websites and make them available to students. It allows the teacher to monitor what students are doing in real time and take care of it. So this year we've spent $27,000. We anticipated 2,300 students, which is more than we have. We have students come and go. So over the course of the year, we might actually have the 2,300 students. So that's the amount of money we spend total for these services combined. So it was mostly to give you information so that, if somebody was concerned about our students' privacy or rights to First Amendment rights, but we also have an obligation, a legal obligation, and frankly, I think an ethical or obligation to support and protect our kids.
Anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Actually, it sounds like a pretty decent thing to have.
It is very good to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could have sent all of this to you all, to share with you as board members, but I thought it was worthwhile to present it in a way that I'm sharing it with you, but also we're sharing it with the public. Because we do have people who watch our live stream, and we do have people who go back and watch the video. And our parents and the community need to know that we take it seriously to protect our kids, and that we're not trying to infringe on their rights.
Yeah.
So thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you. Item 1.9, adjourn the workshop. Do I have a motion to adjourn this workshop?
I make a motion, we adjourn the workshop.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? I'm Melinda Sabrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
I, Barbara Zarzicki.
Hi, Judy Reed.
And we have, 4 minutes before we start again?
Yeah, a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Hand these down to her.
Yeah. Oh, I must have stole your pen.
Yeah, that's okay.
I was wondering why I had two over here.
It's been one- Ready, go for it.
He's ready. You got the thumbs up from him.
I call to order the regular meeting of Bullhead City School Board on Thursday, August 21, 2025 at 6 p.m. sharp. Would you, roll call, President Melinda Sabrowski.
Charlene Diaz here.
Barbara Zarzicki here.
Judy Reed here.
Would you please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Someday I'll take that comma out. Okay.
It's far more common the way you-
Present. Please sign the work, or the sheet at the door. Do we have any call to public today?
No.
Okay.
No.
Then we're into 2.6 donations. And goodness. Wow.
It was difficult for Lance to put a dollar value on all of the donations for our new teachers. You saw last month the bags sitting here, and some are still sitting in. Yeah, some are still sitting in the other room because we're waiting for some of our teachers. But over 1,000 items were donated from all of these various community groups. So we love our community partners.
I want to thank
Nice.
everybody in the community for doing this. Boy, oh boy, there's a whole series of people there, and companies, and everybody. Thank you very much. We have a great community. Item 2.7, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Excuse me.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
I second it.
All those in favor, aye, Melinda Sabrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
I, Barbara Zarzicki.
I, Judy Reed.
Dr. Stewart.
I'm going to talk about some of the reports that are here, but
Okay,
I also
all
have
right.
some, and I'll do it in the list of updates. The first thing I want to do, however, is publicly apologize to Desert Valley School, because last month when we were talking about test scores and I kind of singled them out relative to the two principals, one being on leave and one covering class and whatever, and I offended them. And I certainly had no intention of doing that. So I felt that it was important that I publicly apologize for any offense that I may have given to the staff there. I was using it as an example and certainly wasn't trying to single them out. Facilities, yeah, Cass, if you'd call up the work ticket report there, it's the very first thing. Well, okay, I would call your attention to the chart down at the bottom. We frequently see these two lines, or we frequently see the kind of brown one going up and down, and we frequently see the green one being closer to the bottom. It was a very busy month in July, lots of work orders, and if you look at the numbers, you can also see that we had 633 work orders carried over from June, 315 new ones, and they only closed 279 because some of these were pretty big things, and they were continuing to work on them. So I wanted to note that all kinds of things were going on, and this does not imply that they were not doing their jobs. They've been very busy. We have the cooling tower situation at Desert Valley. We continue to have conversations with SFD. We actually had a virtual meeting with our rep there today that I actually ended the meeting early because the folks who were there representing the engineers had not bothered to look at the information we had sent them. And I thought it was offensive and insulting that they had not done their piece of preparation for this meeting. So I said, y'all need to go look at those things, and then let's meet and, not waste people's time. So I was a bit abrupt with them today. I did email you all that we have a dangerous situation in the ceiling of the kitchen at Desert Valley.
Yeah.
And we're not applying to SFD for this one. We can't wait for the timeline that takes. We are going to be doing this project. The demolition part we can do, our crew can do, but then the reinstallation of things that need to be replaced, we'll contract those out. And it's Dawn and her crew are working with us. The kitchen people will be working out of the production kitchen at Fox Creek to produce the meals and then bring them down to Desert Valley to serve, and the breakfasts and the snacks. We're hopeful that we can do this in 2 weeks' time. It may be 3, but everybody has stepped up. All of the various all the various people have stepped up and said, we'll do whatever it takes. So I'm grateful to them for that.
So what is actually wrong with this?
Something was falling in.
Is it falling down?
It could. The hood, okay, it started with the hood over the stove. So, the hoods have suppression systems. This was not working correctly. Mark and crew were checking on what was going on with it and trying to find the place to shut off the power to that suppression system. So it meant that he had to get up in the ceiling. So Mark got up in the ceiling, and it turns out we have a false ceiling. So we have one of those drop ceilings. And then above that, 2 feet above that, is a drywall ceiling, and above that are the joists, and then the roof. Okay, so over the years, we have no idea when any of this happened. At some point, the evap coolers were replaced with HVAC units. The evap coolers were removed, but the pipe work that came down from them was just capped. And if we had a heavy rain, water dripped down, messy on that drywall. Okay, the HVAC units were installed. The ducts to bring the air into the kitchen were installed. The ducts for the return air were not installed. There's plumbing for the plumbing vents go up through this. That campus is old, right? Some of those vents are cracked, which means they leak gas. There are lots of issues, okay? We would not have known about it if we had not been trying to fix the other issue. So as soon as Mark came and told me, and there is more, I'm not even telling you all of it, I said, let's get started right now on what it will take to fix it. So that's why we called Dawn. She came right over, and we started talking about what can we do, with our crew and that stuff. So we're going to be fixing this, and then when that's all done, then we will figure out what's wrong with the suppression system for the vents. So we're doing what we need to do. It needs to be safe for our employees and Chartwell's employees and for our kids. So we're gonna do what it takes. Okay.
I may be asking a stupid question, but how about the kitchen at Coyote Canyon?
It's not a production kitchen.
Oh, okay.
So
That
it doesn't
makes a
have all the
difference.
equipment it needs to produce.
Okay.
It can serve, and it can produce some things, but it's not a big enough. And it would make sense because it's closer.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have all the equipment that it needs to have to produce the meals for Desert Valley.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking too. I thought, they've got the kitchen there and
Yeah.
stuff, but.
For many years.
I know the middle school doesn't have a production kitchen.
No, and for many years, all the food, all the things were produced at Fox Creek and Desert Valley, and then trucked to
Yeah.
whatever. Over the last few years, more things have been. We can do more things at the other kitchens, but they're still not big production kitchens. So, so it still puts the heavy load on Fox Creek in this case. So. But we're really fortunate that we've got folks who are just, okay, we'll do what it takes to feed our kids.
Yeah.
And we'll make that happen. And then we've had, since school started, we've had a handful of HVAC units that have just died. And SFD has replaced a couple of those, or several of those. Others we could just replace, like the compressor or whatever, and Jesse's been out doing that. So I'm sure that's not a surprise to any of you that we've had HVAC
No.
units that have just kind of given up. Okay. Discipline, I would like to explain. I put it in writing, but I want to explain. So if you'll get the comprehensive one, Cass, where is it?
Isn't it disciplinary in the third line down?
No, that's day one.
You've
My
got
goodness, where is it?
the third line down, you got work ticket, then
Oh,
your
on the
student
left.
monthly, and then
There you go, that
disciplinary.
one. There you go. Okay, so this is the form we've been using in the past. But one of the things that I determined toward the end of last year, because our numbers looked so big, and so the leadership team talked, and we talked about, okay, what is it? Why is it that these numbers, when we know that the amount of time that you as administrators are spending is less on discipline than in previous years, but why do our numbers look so big? It turns out that when we report things in Synergy, we have incidents and we have infractions. And so the reports that Jenny was pulling last year were pulling the infractions. Well, the truth is that frequently a student will do something, be sent to the office. It's one incident, but the student has 2 or 3 infractions. So they've broken 2 or 3 disciplinary rules, and those are getting counted as separate. Okay? Well, that makes it really difficult for us to see if our interventions are doing any good, because what we want to know is, are we having fewer times of students being sent to the office? And when it's reporting all of those as if they are individual incidents, then it makes it really difficult for us to see. So Jenny worked with ETC to work on the Synergy program so that we can actually just report incidents as opposed to infractions. Okay, so this year we should have a way better handle on, are our interventions working? And all 4 of you have been educators, are educators, and so you know that lots of times it is a few students who are frequent flyers as opposed to many students doing things. And our numbers last year made it look like many students were doing things. So we're hopeful that we'll have a way better way of showing what's going on this year. Okay, so I kind of wanted to explain that to you about how we're handling it a little differently.
On this report, I noticed that, like, for the middle school, you had grades 7 and 8, and on junior high, you have 5 and 6 listed
Yes,
also.
and that's because we have special education classes at both of those sites that are specialized. So at middle school, we have some 7th and 8th grade students, but they are in the specialized program that is only there. And the other is true at Fox Creek.
Okay.
Because we can't, first of all, the numbers are not such that it would be fiscally, financially feasible for us to have the programs at both schools.
Yeah.
So, and last year I didn't do that. I didn't have 5th and 6th on junior high, and I didn't have 6th and 7th, or 7th and 8th on the middle school. And so I thought, okay, this is the good time at the beginning of the year to fix that, and have those numbers be, factored in.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was just wondering why,
And good question, Barb, good question. Okay, yeah, good catch. Okay, and then enrollment. So there are several enrollment reports there. So you've got the day 1. Cass, it's clear on the, yeah, there you go. So on day 1, we had 2,156 students enrolled. Now, keep in mind that includes all of our summer all of our rollover from last year, and any students whose parents have come in and enrolled students, at the beginning of the school year. So that's purely enrollment, okay? And then there's the comparison to previous years. Yeah, that one. And so you can see we were pretty steady the 2 previous years, and we are down. Okay. this year. And so I asked Jenny to get me some reports from Synergy. So we're now past the 10th day of school. So we did 10-day drops. So that means students who were registered in the spring who did not show up by the 10th day. We dropped those students from enrollment. We have summer drops, so we have situations where parents call and say, you know, my student's not coming back to your school, my student's going to X school, Y school, whatever. And sometimes we get that information, but they don't tell us where. Or they tell us that it's going to happen, but we can't actually consider it happening until we get either the 10-day drop or we get a request for records from another school. So I had Jenny pull all the information and let me know where students maybe went, because it looked like we were dropping a heck of a lot of students. And it turns out we did, 299. Okay, 299 students. There's a whole list. 11, this is district-wide, so all schools. 11 have gone to Arizona Virtual Academy. 15 to Camp Mojave Elementary School. 25 to Desert Star. 6 to Fort Mojave Elementary. 27 to Melk, for a total of 73 who have withdrawn from our schools to go to local schools, okay? The others are like 1 and 2, and they're out of town or out of state. So then I said to Jenny, okay, can you get me the number of new students who've enrolled in our district? So not the transfers within the district, but new enrollees who were not here in the spring and who've enrolled. It turns out we have 408 of those students.
How many?
408, okay?
Okay.
So our net change is 109 students. So that gives me a little hope that we've had more students enroll, new students enroll
Yeah.
than we've lost.
Sounds better.
Sounds better. But I thought you'd be interested in knowing those numbers at this point. Now, we don't quite know what's going to happen because we really don't get good numbers until after Labor Day. Okay? And, our final numbers, if there ever is such a thing, until after Labor Day, because there are still people who don't, especially if they've moved here from someplace else, who don't know that we start earlier.
You start early, yep.
That we start earlier. So I thought you'd be interested in that. I wanted to let you know that Jen had shared with you last month our new math and ELA screeners and about our assessments. So our teachers did training. They have been administering screeners for math skills, basic math skills, and basic language arts skills, which really starts with phonics. And I will tell you, it's taken some training for a lot of folks, because if you think about it, teachers who teach above second grade probably have not had training in phonics. And it turns out that our assessments clear up through 8th grade show some real weaknesses in phonics. So now part of what they're learning is, okay, now that I know what the problem is, how do I deal with it? How do I teach it, and how do I help with those skills? And some same things with math. So our teachers have been really busy, first of all, learning how to do those assessments, and then secondly, meeting as teams to discuss, okay, now what do we do with these data? And how are we going to get right on this and start making those changes? So they've been busy. As you recall, you all asked for 4 tests this year, one each at the end of each quarter. The company that we went with has 3 for the year that are prepared. So for us to do 4, we have to create our own. Jen started working on that last week. The good news is that she can pull test items from those 3 that the company does. And keep in mind that one of the reasons you all didn't want us to use those is that they are cumulative. So the first one tests for the skills, the standards for the whole year. And the second one tests for the standards for the whole year, and the third one. And you all ask for that we test only for the standards we taught that quarter. Okay, so Jen's working on those. And as I say, the good news is that the company will let her go pull items from their prepared test, and they have a test bank. So she can pull the things, but it means she's creating each of those tests. And we decided to have just her do it. So there's never any question that if we had some other people on the committee to choose, oh, it's not fair because Judy was on the committee, so her kids are going to know what the test items are, right? So, so Jen's doing it, and thank you for letting me pick on you, Judy. But it takes some time. And so last I knew, she had the third grade done. And then for whatever reason, today she was working on 8th grade. I don't know why she skipped from 3rd to 8th grade. It doesn't really matter, but that's what she was doing. And by the way, she's not here tonight because she's on her way to a state training for tomorrow. Okay, so we have that. And then I wanted to bring you up to date on staffing. 2 of our international teachers arrived today, 2 of the ones we've been waiting for, and got signed in and will be on campus tomorrow. A number of them should be here by the end of the month. But we have our H-1B people are a little later. We hope to have those folks by November 1st. So it means that, because we don't have a lot of substitutes, Ms. Polsinelli at Desert Valley is teaching 3rd grade. Ms. Emland at Diamondback I think she's also teaching 3rd grade. And Mr. Roy at Sunrise is teaching the high needs SPED classroom up there. So, we're doing what we have to do. In other situations at the middle school and at the junior high, teachers are covering during their prep. We did eliminate a PE position at Fox Creek. We had a late resignation for one of those 2 teacher positions, and we're not likely to fill it, so they've rearranged the schedule and assigned those kids to something else. So, we get creative about what we need to do, but we're looking forward to the rest of these teachers getting here soon. And many of them are will be living in our den houses. So, okay.
We started with the H1
Yes.
a little early.
We did.
How come November?
It takes because we work through an attorney, and there's a more lengthy process, but that also got put on hold when the J1s got put on hold. And so Jen's on the phone frequently with the folks, the attorney and with the company to get that straightened out. Those are the folks that we're hoping, a couple of them might be here by October 1st. But we don't know. I mean, it's just the process. It's the legal process for these folks. So.
That's at the end of the first quarter.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah. So that makes it, tough. Makes it tough.
So those kids are going to have 2 teachers, one of which is a foreign teacher.
Mm-hmm. When the teacher gets here.
Are any of those teachers in, you listed as classrooms, but they're not in the little, with the littles?
Third grade, and then that special class. Those are 3 of the positions that we're waiting. Not H1s. Those are not H1s. Those are all J1s. So those folks should be here by the end of the month for those positions. So, yeah. And then the last thing I have to share with you is, I've been doing this a long time. I will tell you that the first 3 weeks of this year have been the smoothest in my memory. And the principals and folks said the same thing, that kids, parents, everything, transportation, it's been the smoothest beginning ever.
Great.
And so that's a kudos to everybody involved.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know how smooth things can be, because I came by Desert Valley right as they were.
Oh,
My.
I did last night too.
Oh my gosh.
For a parent pickup?
Oh.
Yeah,
It was backed up all the way to the light.
But
Is there?
they have an excellent plan in place, and it moves quickly. I mean, once it starts moving, problem is that some folks come and start sitting there 45 minutes early, and it's like, why? Why would you want to sit there in that heat? but they do.
It
But
was
we
like
keep saying to them, put your kids on the bus.
115 degrees out there, and they were sitting there.
Put your kids on the bus, yep. But it's very efficient. Once they start putting kids, it's 10 minutes. Believe it or not, it's 10 minutes. I
And
mean, they get
honestly,
on
once
with
it cools down,
Yeah,
more parents will put their kids on the bus.
Yes.
I used to have parents tell me all the time, well, the first couple months, I'm gonna pick up and, because they don't think that the air works on on the buses, and so they don't want their children on the bus, but it does, but it's just, those doors are opening and closing every 2 minutes, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
hard to keep it cool.
I am just really surprised that there aren't more accidents.
yeah, it's very
There is,
surprising. And we're working with the city on a couple of things. One is out here, right at this entrance, and then over at Highland, not at the school itself, but at Highland and Marina, because people then block
Exactly.
block
That I watched
Highland,
them.
and we can't get our buses out, and once the cars have gone through the parent pickup and they're coming out, they can't get back out on Marina and then the line backs up behind them. So we're working with the city on that, and the city's, being cooperative to help us try to make sure that those two entrance things don't get blocked.
Well, have them come out on Highland, make a left and go around in front of the city building and out to Marina that way. It'd be a lot easier than right there at that corner.
Sometimes, yeah,
You know.
sometimes. So, I
Yeah.
mean, we just do the best we can, and I think you're right, Charlene. I think when it cools off a little bit, there'll be more kids on the buses.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I was just appalled.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like, I would never sit in a line like that.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Um,
So, lots to report at the beginning of the school year.
Thank you. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
that- I'm glad that things went smoothly. I'm glad Chartwell's, thank you very much, is bending over and helping us, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. We just have some good things going on.
Absolutely. Dawn, when we met the other day, she said, you just couldn't stand not giving me a big challenge at the beginning.
At the beginning,
Because she
yeah.
started about July 1st. So,
And we still
Initiation by
have
fire.
the trucks and everything we need to.
yeah,
to
we have
transfer.
everything we need, yeah.
Okay. Item 2.9, board member updates. I have two things on here. Thank you, Cassie, for doing this for me. The incentive program that I talked about with the TV, remember the TV? Did I talk about this during a board meeting, or was this just?
No.
You did it at the breakfast.
At the
Okay,
breakfast.
Yeah,
so
the
then maybe I
breakfast.
should talk a little bit about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Basically, what's happened is, I have been so concerned about scores that I decided to put my money where my mouth is. And I purchased a couple TVs, and we're going to be awarding those TVs to 3rd to 8th grade teachers, ELA, math, and science teachers specifically, as an incentive to get scores up. And the scores we're going to be basically working with are the scores for, as I say, ELA, math, and the Offer Renaissance is the program we're using, and they go by the quarter programs. So the teacher in the first one that has the best scores wins the TV. Of course, if there's a tie, it's a lottery system, that kind of stuff. And then it goes, quarters 2, 3, and 4 are the same thing, only now we're looking for mastery. So that instead of just having the best score, it could be improvement or mastery of the subject that's going to get them into the drawing or getting the TV. The first quarter is a TV, the second quarter is a gift card. Jen and I talked about a $250 gift card to Amazon, or even just a Visa card, but something that they could use. And then the third quarter is another TV, and then the fourth quarter is a gift card. So I'm asking the board to think about maybe contributing towards the gift cards, because the TVs are purchased. I think they're in the warehouse.
They're in the warehouse.
They're waiting for this stuff to happen, and we won't know until December, the board meeting in December.
We should have, yeah, we should have data for second quarter.
First quarter.
First quarter.
Well, first quarter data we'll have for, you'll have in October, well, let's see,
November.
in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, given when our board meetings are, and then the, second quarter, it might actually be January.
Yeah.
Because the
ends
assessment's
at
like
Christmas.
bumping right up to the board meeting date, so we might or might not have the data right then, but you'll have it
But we
shortly
can-
after.
Yeah. And we're hoping that things improve because it's an incentive program.
And Linda, I'd be glad to donate a gift card.
Okay.
You just tell me
Thank you,
it's
Judy.
$2.50.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
So we
donate
just-
one.
okay. So basically, I asked Cassie to find out when each of the schools was having their teachers' meeting in September, so that one of us could go and, well, let's put it this way. I know we're all on the same page with this. It's not just me, but I know we're all concerned about it. So I'm asking that each one of us take a school and go into the school and explain to them why this is so important to us. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mhm.
Okay. So what I did is I prepared what I would like to say to the teachers. And this is up to you guys if you want to use something like this or come up with your own little speechy thing to give to the teachers. But basically, we need to get our faces in and talk to the teachers and tell them how important this is.
Yeah.
All right, so I prepared this for you guys. And this is my version of it. And I don't expect you guys to use my version, but it might be.
You think not?
But basically, what it is I've talked about us living up to our own goal, our own goals. And I went down through the standards so that they would know that we have standards that we have to meet, or we are asking others to meet so that we can check them off anyway. And you'll see there's 6 of them there, and they're basically, number 4 is academic instruction should translate into success for our students. These are directly off of our mission statement. And this is what we do, and we do. Judy, you haven't experienced this yet, but we go through a really thought-provoking evaluation of our progress as a board. So that's basically what this is. Then there's an explanation, and I apologize to the social studies teachers and any elective teachers who might not get into the drawing, but that they aren't part of the testing. So we just excluded them this time, this part. So anyway, that's what this is. So do you have the dates and times?
I got a few dates, yes, but it does. Sorry. But it does, go into like IE meetings, so you would have to, they would designate time for you prior
Yeah,
to.
we would probably
Call
call,
ahead.
once we get the school and the date. You see, that's really important to us, some of us. The date and the
Okay.
time.
Can I
Because
talk about-
basically, we have to arrange our time also.
Yeah,
And we
the-
would ask to get on their agendas someplace where it was convenient, maybe at the beginning or the very end, or somewhere where it's convenient for the
Yeah.
principal.
I think the difficulty for September is that the PD day is the first Friday, and at least 2 of you are going to be at
Yes.
law conference.
3 of us are.
3 of
gonna be
you,
gone till
and
the
you're
other
going to be
country.
gone.
I won't be
So,
back until the 15th.
so
Yeah.
Cass may have some other possible dates for you to consider, but that's why that one might be difficult, because we know that some of you are
Yeah.
going to be gone. So did you get some other dates?
well, no, because I was getting them today.
Today, okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't
we'll
have
have to
anything
get them to
prepared
you
yet.
for when, because that's the one PD day that's scheduled for everybody.
Mhm.
The others, the sites have some of their own PD times, and so she can get those for you, and you can
Mhm.
decide who's going where on what date.
I got the junior high.
This is, I just want to make sure that you understand this is very.
Absolutely.
important and very, very
Absolutely,
important to
and we
me.
want to get it, we want to
And
get it coordinated
needs
with
to be
those
done In
principals.
September.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
If I
She'll get
even
it set
have to
up.
go to all the schools because these guys didn't get a chance to arrange their own schedule.
Okay.
This is very important to me.
She'll have it for you next week.
So just food for thought, as someone who taught social studies, they're actually very invested on helping language arts teachers and science are, obviously invested in helping math because they're incorporated in that. So is there a way we can include those social studies teachers in there? I mean, I don't know how to,
Not this year.
you know what I'm saying? Because,
Yeah, I understand.
because.
I understand exactly, but then in science, I always taught writing across the curriculum or reading
Right.
across the curriculum. I always did that. So you're like, I understand, but.
I mean, I know social studies isn't tested yet, but, I'll have to think about that.
At this time, Jen and I just kind of said no.
Yeah.
But you have a point. And maybe sometime.
Yeah, I just
later-
feel, I feel bad that leaving them out, not giving them that same opportunity as everybody else, you know?
Well, yeah, and the art teachers and the language, or the
Music
PE
teachers
teachers
and
and all those guys
Yeah.
have a lot to do with it, but the testing is at,
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
yeah, so basically that. The board retreat is, again, centered around this whole theme of meeting our own standards, of actually putting our mouths where we are. So we're going to be talking about not only the incentive program,
It's
but some
of
other
those
things that the district, that way we can help the district to achieve the goals of the district, as well as our own mission statement that we sort of do and sort of don't.
Yeah.
So that's what the thing is. There are 2 dates. One is Monday, October 27, and the other date was Saturday, November 1st. And I kind of need, well, Cassie kind of needs to contact Julie Bacon, who is going to monitor, mentor, sort of direct. She's not really going to come in and try and teach us boardmanship, but she's going to come in and talk about some of the things that she and I have talked about. And other things that'll come up from you once you get started. So is there one of those dates better than the other?
I would prefer the Saturday one.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm fine with Saturday. it
Okay.
doesn't matter to me.
How about you, Charlene?
Actually, either day will work for me.
Okay. So let's go for the Saturday one then.
What is the date of
Saturday?
that Saturday?
Saturday,
November
November 1. And
It's on
we'll,
the- it's
and we'll
Oh,
have
you
it
see
here,
it,
of
yeah.
course, and
Yeah.
order in pizza if we stay longer than lunch. Okay?
Yeah.
At what time on Saturday?
Probably 9,
9? Okay.
and we'll go 9 to 1, and if we need to, we can go past that. And it's going to be interesting because Carolyn has her strategic planning thing going on too. So maybe some of the topics from Carolyn's strategic planning, I didn't ask you whether November 1st was good for you.
It's fine. It's
Okay,
good.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I
No,
just-
that's okay.
Is it held
Um,
Yeah, it'll be.
She
That's
may
my
ha-
calendar,
She
fine.
may have some things that come out of her thing that we want to talk about, that we want to consider and work on and go buy Walmart TVs for, that kind of thing. Any questions on either one of those two things? Is there anything else that you would like to have me work on as far as getting us moving towards fulfilling our obligations, other than budgets, signing budgets and that kind of things? And being to board members' meetings on time, yeah. Nothing? Okay, maybe you'll come up with something. Item 3, consent agenda. I need a motion to accept the consent agenda, unless we have something that we need pulled.
I would like to pull 3.4.
Okay. 3.4?
Yes, the addendum to the district committees, club sponsors, coaching, and leaderships.
3.4, is that what you said, Barb?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else that we need pulled?
That's the only one
All
for
right,
me.
so we'll discuss that one, Barb, for you. And but I do need a motion to accept the consent agenda with the exception of 3.4.
I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda with the exception of 3.4.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
Aye, Charlene Diaz.
Aye, Barb Zarzicki.
Hi, Judy Reed.
Okay, Barb, you're on for addendums.
Okay.
Cassie, can you pull this up at all?
Yeah, which one?
So
Okay.
we know what's going to be her
The
concern?
master, I believe it was the master list.
Which one, Barb?
Which
oh.
master list?
The district, no, club sponsors. I think that was the one I wanted. Yes, that was the one. I believe, wait a minute.
So what's your question on
Oh, no,
this?
I'm sorry. Go back, Cassie. That's not the one I was looking.
Coaching agenda?
No, the committee sponsors, I'm sorry. No, wait a minute. Go back. Try the next. It's the one with the yearbook staffs and stuff and
That would be the clubs.
the club sponsors,
Yeah,
okay.
that would be the clubs.
There's your book.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, there it is. That's the one. I believe it was last month's meeting I brought up the fact that I had requested some changes to be made on the Okay,
Oh, I forgot.
okay.
I'm sorry.
That everybody is paid the same amount, that if you're, it doesn't matter what school you're at, if you're a sponsor for the student council, you're paid the same amount as every school. If you're the yearbook sponsor, it's the same. Because otherwise, to me, it's giving the teachers at one school saying, you're more valuable than the teachers at another school for doing the same type job and everything, so
I
that,
am so sorry.
They're
I
all-
totally
okay.
spaced that, so we will fix that.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, so Barb, just so I'm clear, and that, for instance, Desert Valley Student Council person would get the same $1,000 as the person at the middle school.
Right,
Okay.
everybody, you know,
Okay.
the student council sponsor gets $850 at every school, the different yearbooks, club sponsors get $500 at each of the schools. And so everybody's on the same
Okay,
level.
so it really means bringing some of those up as opposed to bringing any
Yeah.
of them down.
Yeah, bring the 500s up to 600 and the 850s
Okay.
up to 1,000, so
I'll
everybody is.
I'll be happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
When
I
you vote
appreciate
on this, would you at least vote for approval of these individuals to fill these
Yeah.
positions? Because that's really what we're doing tonight, but I apologize for missing that, and I will fix it.
No problem, I just, when I saw
Thank
it, I
you.
went, no.
Thank you.
You know, I want even for all the teachers here. We're all worth, they're all worth the same
Absolutely.
to us.
Thank you.
Any more discussion on item 3.4? Barb, would you like to make a motion to accept this?
Okay, I make a motion, we accept 3.4 with the correction on the salary schedule of everyone being brought up to the same level.
And we're going to accept the people
And accept
who-
the teachers that have been into the positions,
Teachers and
I second
other
that.
staff probably too.
or the staff.
It is, yeah,
Yeah,
because there are
staff.
classified
Yeah.
staff too.
Yeah, that the staff members are accepted on their positions.
I second that.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
Aye, Charlene Diaz.
I, Barb Zarzicki.
Hi, Judy Reed.
Okay, do we need to re-accept the consent agenda?
No,
Cassie?
you've done the rest of it.
All right. Item No old business? Oh, my goodness. Item 5.1, convene into executive session pursuant to ARS 431.03A3, discussion or consultation for legal advice with an attorney or attorneys of public body. Do I have a motion to convene into executive session?
I make a motion that we convene into executive session.
I second it.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
Hi, Barbara Zarzaki.
Hi, Judy Reed.
We are in executive
Keep
session.
waiting here for this voice.
Motion to reconvene into public session.
I make a motion, we reconvene into public session.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
Hi, Barb Zarzaki.
Hi, Judy Reed.
Okay. Do I have 7.2, independent investigation, action item? What kind of action would you like to take on this?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I move to accept the report of investigator Gordon Lewis and to deny and dismiss the whistleblower complaint filed by former employee Lillian Salcido because, among other reasons, the complaint is not valid and no prohibited personnel practice was committed against Ms. Salcido.
Do I have a second to this motion?
I second it.
All those in favor? I, Melinda excuse me, I, Melinda Sabrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
Hi, Barb Zarzaki.
Hi, Judy Reed.
Okay, item 7.3, Arizona School Board Association Draft 2026 Political Agenda. Have you guys, before you saw, or before we got the agenda, did you guys see this at all? Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
This was a very interesting meeting where we discussed all these things. I happened to be on this delegate committee, or on this committee, and it was very interesting. Things are not equal across the state. We are in a lot of ways fortunate compared to some of the other districts. And it was interesting to listen to them and what they wanted to have on this document. I fully support everything that's on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, should be.
Okay. Are there any questions that you'd like to ask me since I was there? In one way or another? Okay. Do we need a motion to accept this, right?
Yeah.
Yep, and direct Barb to
Yeah.
do her job.
Okay, Barb,
Okay,
since you're the delegate?
I make a motion, we accept the Arizona School Board Association Draft 2026 for the political agenda. And at the meeting in September, I will vote according to our board discussions.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
All those in favor? I, Melinda Sabrowski.
I, Charlene Diaz.
Hi, Barb Zarzaki.
Hi, Judy Reed.
Okay, these are a bunch of first readings. So if there are any additional questions that we need to have answered, this is the time to do that. Item 7.4, AVSBA Policy Advisory for EB Safety Program. This is the first reading, and this is what we did at the
That's when we
workshop.
saw
These
the
are the things you
workshops.
looked at in the
Yeah.
workshop,
Yeah.
so really what you're doing is acknowledging that it's the first reading. So there's no vote.
Okay, there's no thing.
You don't do any action,
Any,
do we?
any additional questions that you'd like to have answered? Item 7.5, ASBA Policy of GCQF, Discipline, Suspension, and dismissal of professional staff members. This is the first reading. Any additional questions? Okay, item 7.6, ASBA Policy Advisory JLC, Student Health Services and Requirements. First reading. Any additional questions? 7.7, ASBA Policy for JLCD Medicines, Administrating and Medicines to students. This is first reading. Any additional questions? Moving right along. 7.8, ASBA Policy Advisory JLF, Reporting Child Abuse and Child Protection. First reading. Any questions? 7.9, Policy Advisory Regulation IJNBDB-R, Use of Technology, Resources, and Instruction.
And this is not a first reading, so.
This is information.
Oh, this is a regulation, so it is an
Yeah.
information,
No.
sorry.
So we're going to keep moving, for this is regulation.
Yeah, it goes with
Yeah.
the policy you
Here's
adopted.
another regulation. 7.10, policy advisory for regulation JR-R, student records. It goes with, which one?
The policy that was adopted last
Yeah.
month.
Okay. 7.11, clerical edits made to exhibit JHD-EC, exclusions and exemptions from health attendance instruction agreement for students with chronic health conditions. Some information. Anybody have anything they want to say or ask? Okay, here we go. Item 7.12, convene into executive session to establish school year 25-26 superintendent performance goals pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A1, discussion or consideration of employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, demotion, dismissal, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of public officer or appointee or employee of any public body except with the exception of salary discussions. An officer, appointee, or employee may demand that a discussion or consideration occur at a public meeting. And obviously, you are not demanding that, right?
No, I'm not.
Do I have a motion to convene into executive session?
All right, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we go into executive session.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? I'm Melinda Sabrowski.
Hi, Charlene Diaz.
Hi, Barbara Zarzicki.
Aye, Judy Reed.
All right, ladies, go to your corners.
convene into public session.
I make a motion, we reconvene into the public session.
I second that motion.
Okay. Item 9.2, establish a super,
We got to vote.
oh, we got to vote. Gosh darn.
All those in favor?
All in favor?
All in. Go ahead, do it. I'm Melinda Sabrowski.
Hi, Charlene Diaz.
Hi, Barbara Zarzicki.
Hi, Judy Reed.
Oh, man. Item 9.2, establish the superintendent's performance goals for school, or fiscal year?
School year.
No, it's fiscal year, 25, 26. We have talked to our superintendent. We have set a goal for strategic planning. And we're all in agreement. That it's very, very important that we have strategic planning going on. And she's already started. September 12th, right? So if anybody wants to come, please come on down and join us for our strategic plan.
And Melinda, if I may, it's kind of an aside, but I met a community member at the Mojave College kickoff day who tells me that she watches your meetings every month. And I failed to write down her name, but I would love for her to, if she's watching tonight, to contact me and maybe see if she's interested in being a community member on the strategic planning committee.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Okay, let's hope she contacts you. So we need a motion, right? Okay, I need a motion to establish the superintendent's performance goals for fiscal year 25, 26.
I make a motion, we accept or establish the superintendent's performance goal for fiscal year 25, 26.
Is there a second?
There's I second it.
Okay, all those in favor? I'm Melinda Sabrowski.
Hi, Charlene Diaz.
Hi, Barbara Zarzicki.
Hi, Judy Reed.
The heat's getting to us, guys.
No, the measles or whatever,
Or chicken pox.
Chicken pox, that's
yeah.
what it was, chicken pox.
Chicken thanks.
10.1, future topics. Are there any topics we'd like our superintendent to research and come up with some solutions for?
I can't think of anything right now.
Nope.
Okay, I'm gonna harp. Okay. Basically, I would like to hear from each of the schools what they're doing to support to be supportive of the teacher towards achieving our standards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a quick message, maybe even just a sentence or two in each of their reports would be sufficient for right now.
Okay.
I just wanted to know that they're being supported.
Okay,
Okay.
and in their written reports.
Sure.
Okay, and by the way, we will resume highlighting student work and whatever next month.
Perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
it was a little early to do it
Yeah.
this month, so, but we will resume that part of our agenda.
Okay. But if we could do,
Sure.
and they don't have to be, I just need to know that they're being supported.
Good.
Because they're going to be working hard for TV.
Yeah.
Anybody else have something they No? No? Upcoming board events. This is where, Lance, I want to give you, well, somebody else did too. I think it
Yeah,
was Judy.
we all did.
We all want to thank you for helping us get out in front of our chickenpox outbreak. Thank you very much. What we were reported to, or what was reported on, was that because of that, some of the people, the trolls, didn't come out and bite us too badly. So thank you very much for doing that. And Fred, I hear this is your last night. Oh,
It's a
okay.
little longer. August 31st, August 31st.
Okay, well, this is the last time that we'll probably see you.
Great.
I also want to thank you very much for your support of our school system. You've been an excellent, positive influence. Thank you.
You've done an excellent job, Fred. You've always made sure you report exactly what happens and you don't fluff anything up or exaggerate it or anything. We really appreciate just getting the true facts out there for us.
So I did have a question on this. What is "you must meet my wife"?
It's community theater.
Theater
I
play.
think it's
Oh, is that
Community
community
theater.
theater?
Yes,
Yeah,
community
it is.
theater play.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, oh, something's going on at the Optimum Center that really maybe needs that go, whatever we were talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
earlier.
Mhm.
Okay.
And Lance highlighted, multiple of our employees are involved in the community theater program, so it's always fun to go and see them in a different light.
Yeah.
I know Barb and I are going to the ASBA Law Conference.
Yep.
Mhm.
I will be going to the
Is anybody going with you on that?
ARSA.
Oh, the ARSA?
No, and oh, yeah, well, when we talk about our meeting date, we're going to have to talk about that too for September, because our meeting
It's
date
sort of
is
like
when I
the-
will be
Yeah, when you're
gone.
there.
Yeah.
So we'll have to talk about that. So no, I'm the only one going to that.
Oh, she's going to be gone.
Yeah, ARSA, September 17th through the 19th.
Anything else? All right, we're on item 10.3, date and time and location for a future meeting. And Carolyn's out of town, so we really cannot have a meeting unless we reset the date.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Let me see what September looks like.
So we're looking at,
It's normally it's scheduled for the
18th would be
18th,
the-
right?
It is
Oh, no.
scheduled for the 18th, and
Carolyn
I am
is
taking
not here.
vacation the following week. I will be out of state.
Okay.
The
It's for the
following
following week?
Yeah.
so that means we could move it up a week.
Well, that runs into Judy's
But then Judy
conflict.
can't.
I won't be here,
Judy
but
can't
you
be
still have a
here.
quorum.
But I mean, you could do 15th or 16th if you wanted, I mean, if you
I
don't.
won't be
want-
back.
Oh, you
She's
won't be
still- she
back
won't be
anyway?
back.
Okay.
So Judy, are you just not available on that Thursday, or?
I'm
No, she's
going to
go-
be gone until, I fly back in on the 15th, but I'm not going to be available on the 16th. I won't be able to move.
But no, what I was thinking is, I know that it's normally scheduled on the 18th. You're not available on the 11th. Are you available any of those dates, other dates during that week?
No.
Not at all, okay.
From September 4th on, she's a traveling lady.
Oh,
Going
from
to
September
Greece.
4th?
She's going to
Jeez.
Greece.
Ooh, good.
Going, oh.
My
So-
cruise.
She's going to
So-
be cruising.
And we don't know when Fred's gonna be back.
And I'm not going to think about school board.
Yeah, you're not.
No, no, we
We'd
don't.
still have a quorum.
We'd
though.
still have a quorum.
You still have a quorum, and
So if
Fred
you
should
wanted
be
to do the
back.
11th or whatever, you could do that.
Um,
I mean, that's up to you, anytime that week or the 15th or 16th.
What about the 16th?
The
The
16th
16th on a Tuesday?
of September? 16th? I could do that. You want to do it on the 16th?
Sure. On the 15th, on a Monday?
No.
16th, a
16th.
Tuesday.
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 Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
want to give up my bunco on Monday night.
So, the
Yes, I
16th,
am.
Tuesday at 5:30,
5:30.
right?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to ignore that, Barbara. You'd rather watch paint dry.
Yes, I would. And have a couple of drinks. What can I say?
Okay, school board at 5:30
Board
on the
meeting.
16th. Got it? Okay, Cassie? Okay.
16th, 5:30, right?
Yep.
Eight.
11.1, I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
I
I'll
second it.
All those in favor? I'm Melinda Sabrowski.
Hi, Charlene Diaz.
I, Barb Zarzicki.
And I, Judy Reed.
There we go.